We're live. No music. Emergency.
Right into it.
Digital Recruiter Show. First episode of the year. We're back. Let's hide this. I'll hide this for a second. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Springtime is here. The sun is out. And time to talk about LinkedIn content, right?
Yeah, let me get my here. Yeah, man, it's been driving me nuts. The AI graphics have been fun though this week. I will say I'm having a good time there. But at
the one of you with the
AI.
sword, that was
great. Yeah, battling the rocket emoji. I think someone was like, "Would a sword win against a rocket?" I'm like, in AI world, it would. It might. Who knows? But the AI text posts, man. M dashes, the emojis, right? The blog titles, the caps,
all capital letters, the takes that you could easily find just on the top 3 results of a Google search. It's not doing anybody any favors.
Oh, it's brutal. Like we created this event, 20 minutes ago? I didn't even invite anyone. I'm just posting this just for the recording. I don't know if someone shows up, great, but it's more like I think you and I were just like, we have to get this on. We have to document this.
Yeah,
because it's like an emergency state of the content union post of there is nothing wrong with using AI. There's nothing wrong with using AI and helping you create content.
Do it every single day. Every day.
Why not? Right. Brainstorm, riff. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? But you have to be the final editor. It has to. You have to start with your voice and you have to end with your voice. The middle work, right? I guess we'll probably just end the live right there. But what's the? Let me ask you, because we're going to cover the Digital Recruiter Content Playbook. You and I put this course together. You did a lot, the work. We have all this good stuff, right, in here. We're going to go through this, but what are you seeing as the issue when people are just like, all right, I'm going to create content. I'm just going to post, right? And I'm just going to get something up there, right? What's going on? What's the mindset? What are people trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think people are trying to accomplish, just getting in front of more hiring managers, staying in front of people, increasing their opportunities to start conversations with the right people. I think the goal is the right goal, but the means to get there it's tough right now because I started in this LinkedIn world 4 years ago. You were a little bit ahead of me in that, but years ago, you could, just by posting something targeted at the right people, get attention because not that many people were posting. And still, a tiny minority of LinkedIn users are posting, but the bar for actually getting a post out there that looks like a post, that seems like a post, is so low. Anybody can make a post in a minute in using a ChatGPT or Claude or whatever their tool of choice is and put it up there. And it looks like a post. Like at a glance, it's like a post. It's like getting an electronic keyboard that has a pre-programmed drum beat and thinking you're a musician. It kind of seems like at first listen a song, but it's not really a song. It's a cookie cutter version of a song. And now that so many of those are out there, we're back to the same kind of problem where the recruiter who's posting this is invisible to the hiring managers they want to talk to, because it's not just that they're not seeing anything from them, is they're seeing so many examples of things, so many advertisements basically, that they don't know which one is for them. So we're just ignoring it all. The hiring managers ignore it all. I ignore most of the stuff on my feed. You ignore most of the stuff on my feed. Everybody watching this ignores most of the stuff on their feed because it's not clear whether it's for us. It's not clear whether it's helpful for us. And so as a defense mechanism, our brain just helps us out by saying, ignore this, scroll past this. And so you might be the perfect person to help this hiring manager out, but they don't know that because your post, if it looks, feels like any of these other posts, it's not worth their time. It's not even worth spending 30 seconds to figure out if it's the right thing. It's just kind of a defense mechanism. People are busy. We got to move on.
It's like the hashtags, but worse, right?
Yeah.
Like the hashtag screaming, this is sales marketing. You're trying to sell me something. AI is like, you're trying to market, but it also just comes off as lazy. If you don't clean it up, you rely on the M dashes and the emojis. It also just is really hard to read. right? Paragraphs, all that we'll get into. I love your music analogy. It reminds me of like the walking piano that we got my son for his first birthday. And I remember I was like stepping on it, we play like Beethoven. I'm like, oh, right? It'd be like me telling people, like, yeah, I play a little piano. Like I could play some Beethoven. And I just like step on his piano and it's, playing, the fifth or whatever. It's the same thing. That's such a good analogy. I love you brought that up because that is what this is. And, one of the things with inbound leads that I get from getting my inbounds, but you get and our clients get as a recruiter, it's like there's an authenticity. There's a respect for the work that's gone in to find their voice, to relay the stories, the behind the scenes, what is actually going on day to day. Because if you think about hiring managers, right, what do they typically work with companies, right? Because they work with an agency because they've probably already worked with one, and they either like them, they're not getting results, or they don't like them and they're not getting results. So if you start with that, right, your next best client's always going to probably have that experience with agency, but they're ready for a better experience, a better one. Well, they want to raise the bar, right? If you get a car and it's a lemon, are you never going to get a car anymore? Right? If you live in Nebraska, Montana, no, you're going to vet a dealership next time and a better car. So that is how you have to understand what is your buyer going through when they're ready to buy from you and to meet with you, right? And so they've already experienced the recruiter that's taken shortcuts or hasn't delivered on the promise. They've already experienced the type of recruiter that would just rely on one input for AI and publish and think that their job is done. And then they're wondering why they're not getting leads, right? You can't shortcut the reps and the intentionality and the thoughtfulness and all the nuance and context it takes to be successful in business and sales, but especially in agency recruiting. And I think that's the missing piece. Now, if you do that legwork, if you learn content, if you figure it out, it does not have to take you 3 hours to come up with a post in your voice, right? There are ways around it, but if you aren't doing that, it's like diving into recruiting with no training and expecting, well, why am I not getting results? Well, no one has trained you on anything, right? It's like the science of recruiting might not be the most complicated thing, but it's the art that makes money, and it's mastering the art that keeps you in the game long term.
Yeah, that 100%. And it's the same thing with content. Like the science of content is not crazy deep. It's not super complex. We're telling the same kind of basic versions of the same basic stories again and again and again. But you've got to do it in a way that you bring the art in. You do it in a way that makes the hiring manager that you want to talk to realize that you are different from those phoned-in recruiters. You are different from those RPO people who have gotten the terrible results. You are different from those people fresh out of college who have no idea how to even diagnose a business problem, much less solve it for somebody. And you might be exceptional at what you do and create great results from your clients. But if you are posting content that looks like the stuff those other people are posting, there's no way for the hiring manager to know that. They just lump you in with all those also rans who have wasted their time in the past.
Yeah, it's exactly it. And we see it all the time. I get clients, Rachel texted me again. She texted me 2 inbound leads already this week. And one of them was almost laughable. Like I have to post about it next week. I'll tell you what it said because it was just so funny. She's like, I swear you messaged this manager and wrote them this message to message me. That's like how much it validated like what we're doing. Rachel, I might need help filling open PT positions. I've enjoyed your post and feel like you understand. What does it look like to work with you? Right?
That is the gold standard. Or a post working.
Yeah, I'll be posting it. Like it's real. I don't know why my flashlight came on, but it works. And if you go to her feed, it's storytelling. It's in the weeds. It's like there's such a depth of knowledge of her market, and she's been recruiting 3 years. Right? So you talk about recruiters have been doing this 10 years, 20, 30 years. Like content. I'm just gonna make calls. I'm like, make your calls. But you have a wealth of experience, knowledge, insights. And if no one knows what you've done, you might as well have never done it. except
Mhm.
just rely on referrals in your network until that dries up. And then, stuff what obviously happened with the market yesterday, and some industries are definitely getting to be impacted, right? And this year looks like it could be kind of a rip the band-aid year, and maybe next year is when, if things work out with this vision, right, it could be next year. But then what are you going to do in this year, right? Build your brand. The people that are winning are building the brand by getting their voice, their stories. They're not taking shortcuts. They're not also expecting to have 100 clients from inbound leads the next day. It's like you're doing it because it's part of your new normal. To me, good content, good branding is a non-negotiable in
Mhm.
2025. If you're serious about running a sustainable agency, whether you want to grow or just keep it sustainable, right, and have predictable traction and pipeline, these are all things that I know recruiters want. But I think what gets in the way, if we bring up to the stage, is the fear factors, right? The judgment, the imposter syndrome, not enough time, perfectionism, low engagement, right? Low engagement, like all these things are fixable, right? That's why you
Yeah.
and I exist. That's why we do what we do, because we figure these things out. We know, like, you and I post, we get 1 like, we get 10 likes, 100 likes. We don't care, right? That post, by the way, that Rachel got a message on right after the post that she had that day, got 7 likes.
Yeah.
It does, right? We always talk about leads, not likes. It does. You don't have to go viral, right? You don't have to worry about what friends and family think. Just like know your audience, know what you're good at, the business
Mhm.
that you want more of, with your client candidate side. Connect with them, right? Do some outreach, do some Dripify, whatever you got to do, right? Connect with them every day. Figure out some drip sequence messaging. Figure out how to build good lists, right? We help you with that. And then the content piece, like, get good at it. Like, I left recruiting. First thing I learned was digital marketing, and I've been doing it for 7 years now. Well, 8 years now.
Mhm.
And that skill took everything I knew about recruiting and sales, and made me way better at it, because the issue I had at Aerotech was running out of time to get enough volume to cover my whole desk. Good marketing solves all that, because the good opportunities are around me every single day. I do not worry about top of funnel anymore. I know you don't either, right? So imagine eliminating the chase.
Mhm.
And it's just a bunch of people that know you, know what you're about. And from that, you're finding your next 5, 10, 15 clients. Like, all you got to do is just get over the fear of judgment. Who cares? We got one life, right? Imposter syndrome. If you're a legit recruiter, you got the stories. You know what's up, right? Tell the truth, right? Not enough time. Work with people like us, right? We have the boot camp. We work one-on-one. We can create content for you. We have courses and playbooks around, like, just get good at it. And you could
Mhm.
spend an hour or two, like an hour a day for a month, and get pretty good at content, right? Where you're like on the traction. You can build a good brand for yourself within 6 to 12 months of where
Yeah.
you're just always getting inbound leads pretty consistently. Right? If you gave yourself that bet for a year, like, you would take that most of the time, right? That perfectionism, no one cares, especially now with AI cleaning up our grammar. No one cares if you misspell stuff. It makes you look human.
Mhm.
Right? People try to be the grammar police to me. I'm like, hey, at least you know I wasn't AI, and they're like, oh, right? Because I'm not that fond of the grammar police.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Well,
and
yeah,
nobody's, I mean, not in
yeah,
not in most recruiting niches at least. Nobody's paying you to be perfect at grammar. They're paying you to solve a problem. And it has nothing to do with their grammar or the way you write. Like, if anything, it's better to write the way you talk, because it seems like you. People are going to be working with you. They want to work with you. They don't want to work with a repurposed SEO blog post that has very bland surface level takes
yep.
uh, in it.
That's exactly it. We got a couple other ones on here. Kind of go through. Right, like, hooks are so important, right? If we're looking at this, right, blocks of text, only posting jobs, reposting without insight, right? It's making yourself the hero. It's all about you. You always have call to actions,
It's a really
right?
big
The
one.
AI posts, like, just right. This is for your audience. This is for them, right? Sticking to one idea. I mean, we're giving away a lot of good stuff here, right? The hooks and the headline, right? You got to work on the hooks. That's going to be the majority of what gets the impressions, and you don't have to go viral, but you want people in your market to actually read it, right?
Mhm.
It has to be readable to the people that you care about, right? And these things all matter. AI is terrible at giving hooks. I've
AI
worked
creates titles.
It creates titles, not hooks,
Uh,
and it does not work. It's like an email subject or a blog line. Like, you have to give it a lot of prompts to have it even like have something somewhat decent. And even then, I have to change every hook and call to
Mhm.
action. And I have to change a lot of the meat of the post too. Right. And I have videos where I've created posts in 10 minutes that have gotten 50,000 impressions leveraging AI. And I'm not against it, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it. If you do it the wrong way, you're only hurting your brain. It's like using automation and spamming people. It's this equivalent to doing that with content, with AI content.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Right.
putting more noise on your feed. It's not helping hiring managers. It's not helping you. It's
yeah. Right. Like hooks like this is what you want, right? We have the structure, everything. Now, I mean, this is all stuff that we've have in here. I just want to give you, be watching this a little bit of a taste on like, that's the things you got to focus on, right? The getting over your own, concerns about it, right? Getting over the kind of maybe the ego around like content. Who has time for content? Right? Well, I'll tell you, I know recruiter posting a couple times a week that have gotten 50 agreements on inbound leads, right? That have added 7 figures, 6 figures of new business. We have one, Matt, I just posted about him this morning, got 3 director level placements, 50K and up from his first post and changing his profile.
Wow.
Like, okay, he didn't have to post all the time, right? Does that happen to everyone? No, but it's happened a few times where people from a post or two have gone clients, right? Some, after 2 months got exclusive on 40 roles. From the content. I love your content. I love that, right? She didn't have to make 100 cold calls. She just did that. So if you're dismissing it as like like who has time for that? Like, be careful on how you're spending your time as a recruiter because you're going to start getting lapped.
Yeah. And if you don't have time for that, what are you going to have to spend your time doing? If you don't spend time on your marketing and your public facing assets and your inbound funnel, well, then you're just going to have to keep cold calling, or you're just going to have to keep grinding through leads and damaging your reputation by sending cold email at scale, or just, spamming people. You got to pick a lane. And if you think you don't have time for content, you're going to have to make time to do some other, usually way less effective business development techniques.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Most people I talk to don't want to do cold calls. The cold email is just not working. It's hard to figure out if you're landing in the inbox or anything. So if you don't want to do those things, the only way to do it is to sell without selling. It's social selling and LinkedIn. And you got to fish where the fish are. And that's where LinkedIn is, right? Construction, healthcare, accounting and finance, IT, they're all on there, right? The monthly active users on LinkedIn has gone from 315 million to 1.15 billion in 5 years. So it's 4x. Like, people are on here. So LinkedIn is not dead. You just haven't figured out how to use it if you're having issues with it, right? And the more success you've had as an agency, the more of a potential gold mine it can be, and quickly for you, because you could activate your existing network, but also new people as well, right? And so that's the thing to think about. Because if we're looking at this, right, we talk about Rachel. I mean, this is 50 agreements. She's done over $1 million in billing solo the last couple of years. This is she just hit her 3-year mark as a recruiter. Right. And we got, with this, the leads not liked, right? The formatting, right? A bunch of inbound leads, right? I already shared one. Right. She just gets these consistently. Right. I love what Isaac said. It was just like, inbound leads are great, but all my calls, I don't go in cold anymore. So he was like, it shortens the sales cycle or the time required to build trust, that is the key in recruiting. Right. I was talking to someone that was the number 1 producer at K-Force, Casey, yesterday. I just met him. We're going to be on each other's podcast. And he wrote a book about winning the relationship. And that's all it matters. Right. It's just how to build that. And the quicker you can build that trust on that, that's how then you get the business. If you scale that, that's how you become more profitable. That's how you grow. Everyone's always wondering how you do that. It's because you build trust quicker with more clients and more prospects. So you're getting more, and then you get more recruiters to come in and help fulfill the roles. Instead of getting a bunch of BD people that you got to train and push to work and all that, if you already have a knack for it, double down on you.
Yeah, that's what the hiring managers want to buy.
Yes,
you and your abilities to solve their problems.
Exactly. And with the systems we have, we put candidate outreach on autopilot in our program. I mean, it's a joke. I'm going to talk about at ERE Recruiting Summit in Vegas later this month. Because a lot of corporate recruiters and some agency as well, but the candidate outreach stuff is on autopilot. Anytime I work with a corporate recruiter, they're you've eliminated 15 hours a week of work for me on what I had before, right? So you have that system. We have that system. We can run them through the Digital Recruiter Bootcamp, right? And with me and you and Keely and everyone else, get them up and running, right? Just qualify good roles, and we know the drips and the messaging and all that good stuff. because you're the BD and you're just opening up the accounts. You give the ones that are getting traction, you give those to your top recruiters so they can run with day to day. And like, that's it. Like, that's the funnel. You don't need all this craziness, this Zoom info, this Clay, this anything else. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
because even if you have Zoom info and Clay working as well as they can possibly work, it's dialed in, you're getting the right people, you're putting the appointments on your calendar, you still have to start from zero. Every single one of those conversations, they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about what you're capable of. All they know is you might be able to fill a role that they have open or something like that. But you're still starting each of those conversations with somebody who's probably pretty suspicious of what you're capable of. The trust is going to be really low, and you've got to build that up one-on-one in person, which good salespeople can do, but it takes 30 to 60 minutes every single time, when instead you could just put a post out 2 times a week, 3 times a week, maybe even less often than that. And you're doing that same thing for a bunch of people all at once. It's a huge multiplier. Like, even if your BD and your outbound is completely dialed in and you're a fantastic salesperson, this still saves a ton of time, and you can dedicate that time to more important things.
Yeah. And as we talked about, once you get it right, you can start getting the leads. Like, we had someone in the boot camp, he was only able to make 2 days because he had a family situation come up. In those 2 days, he followed one of the templates and the frameworks and the style formatting and the hooks, told a story that was relevant to his market, signed a contract, right, within 24 hours based on that post. And his other stuff had been, some AI stuff and everything else. It just wasn't on point. And that was what happened. It does not have to take weeks or months or years. It could be a post. Like, it just depends on what you have to work with. And the more you have to work with, the quicker you have the ability to get results and sticking to the process and all that stuff. One of the things that does come up is, how do I come up with more ideas? What are some of the ways that you tackle that?
I think lowering the bar for what you think of is a good idea or a creative idea. There's this idea, I've heard this from recruiters over and over again, that they need to come up with something new every time. They need to be creative. And that's really not the point at all. We're not creating like Coca-Cola ads or Tesla ads that need to be flashy and sexy and amazing and eye-catching. This is a simple B2B service. It's pretty boring, but it solves a frustrating and costly problem. So just tell the stories of the time you solved that problem. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. What did you do? What did you learn? What do you recommend people do next? And looking back in your history, every single placement that you ever made becomes a story. Every time that you almost made a placement should have happened, but it didn't. That's a story too. And you're just telling these, oftentimes it starts to feel boring. It starts to feel repetitive, but that is okay, because you're not solving a new problem for your clients every time. You're solving the same problem over and over and over again. And that's really what your content should be about. I always recommend that people find like 5 really good stories, and then you just approach those stories from slightly different angles. We've got a ton of ways to do this, a ton of templates for doing this. But if you've made 5 placements in your career, that's unlimited content, honestly, unlimited. Yeah. You could post every single day for the rest of your career based on only those 5 things, as long as they're still relevant to the market that you're trying to serve. It's not about being creative. It's not about coming up with something new and fresh. It's about talking about the same thing again and again and again and again.
Themes, principles, like that's what you want, right? The strategy, the theme. I talk about automation now. I talked about it 3 years ago. I talk about content now. I talked about it 3 years ago. I talked about qualifying good recs now. I talked about it 3 years ago, right? And I repurposed stuff from 2023, 2022. And I was like, give me the themes and everything. It was identical to what it is now.
Yeah. And my best LinkedIn post ever was a post I posted a year earlier. Got more views than ever. People are signing up to my email list. People are DMing me, asking me to book calls. I didn't have to ask them. And it's a post I already wrote. I wrote it a year ago. I was like, this still applies. I'm going to post it again. Everybody can do that.
Once you have your library that works, that resonates, that's the key. It's not having just a library. It's having an effective one that's good. And there is a standard. There's a level to get there. It doesn't just happen overnight. You have to work for it. You have to articulate it. Ross and I talk about this stuff weekly, especially in the beginning. So as a recruiter, you and I were spending an hour and a half every week talking about this. I was talking about all the calls that I was having and everything else. That's how I figured out the direction to go, the market, what the market cares about, what to talk about, what not to talk about, right? Okay, they don't care about this. They really care about this because you're looking for the signals that you can double down on. Because once you get there, that's when it starts to really open up. That's when the leads can really open up, right? The people that just try to copy and paste and use Unicode and all that, they don't really have the heart for it. And that's what I really learned. Like, this isn't really for transactional recruiters. This really is for consultative recruiters. Like, and it's never really going to work. If you're volume and you just want mass send out and mass blast stuff, it's probably not going to be for you. I wouldn't even really bother with content, honestly, if that's your style. But if you want to be consultative, it would be, right? But if you want to be consultative, if you understand the depths and the levels of great recruiting and building those relationships, content is a gold mine for you to get that message out there, because it takes time to do those things. And it's hard to do those things and mass volume, right? That's why we have the leverage with automation and the content. You're able to volume outreach, quote unquote, targeted, so you have more time for those more intentional and deeper partnerships and business partnerships. I want to add, we got the free course at the bottom here. This is a series of emails that's going to talk about LinkedIn profile, the LinkedIn tools, content approach, drip sequence messaging, what's working in 2025. We've had hundreds of signups since I created this thing end of last year. Tons of people getting value out of it. Had people jump into the boot camp from it. So it's a great starting point if you want to know kind of how to get going on LinkedIn. To another point I want to add, like we got Steve here. He shared this with me. I mean, he's in IT staffing, so competitive because you're competing
very tough niche,
locally, not national, but internationally. So he had to get in front of his market, and immediately impressions skyrocketed within his market, right? From getting the content, getting the stories out there, talking counter offers and what's relevant in the industry, right? Because that's showing that he's actually legit and knows what he's doing, because he's a very good recruiter. But if he's not putting himself out there, he's getting lumped in with all the other IT firms that are a fraction of the quality, right? And so that's just where, again, another example of how important this can be, right? Establishing your values, being able to walk away from clients, right? And obviously, if you have any questions, right, hit me up on LinkedIn, hit Ross up on LinkedIn. I'm going to stop this. I can put the free course back up here. But this is just supposed to be a quick half an hour here to just, for whoever watching kind of the recording, and we'll get this out to the email list, and I'm sure we'll put this in the Facebook group and stuff like that. But
that's the multiplier effect of content, people.
That is. We can cut this up. We can make some clips out of it. Check out the free course. Check out the Digital Recruiter Bootcamp. We got the next class going on April 21st. I'll create a QR code next time we do these live, stuff like that. But digitalrecruiter.io/bootcamp. There are some payment plans and all that available there, but it's a great deal. It's under $200 a month for the year of access, a year monthly Q&As, but then you get 1 week of live coaching with me and Ross and Keely Flood. We're going to get your profile fixed. We'll do that for you, actually. We're going to make sure your outreach and automation looks good and is set up correctly, or if you already have it set up, we're going to make sure you're doing it correctly and all the pieces are aligned. Then we're going to write a piece of content. We do our content workshop, which is a game changer for people to actually learn how to do this for yourself with your story. We're going to give you live feedback. And just that camaraderie that's built with the other groups of recruiters was super cool to see last week as well. And everyone was jacked up and pumped up, and I'm getting follow-ups, and I'm seeing people sign deals and get meetings and replies, and it's just getting that launching pad that they need. So if you're lacking some direction on LinkedIn, if you're like, hey, I'm good at what I do, but I don't quite know how to communicate that to the market, get that free course, come into the boot camp. Let's make it happen. We do LinkedIn one-on-one sprints as well. Like, I can work with you directly and just like help you get up and running with your profile, create some text posts with you, create campaigns with you. Ross has similar offerings as well. Sometimes him and I tag team and help out clients together as well. So
just eliminate that trial and error. Just we've made all the mistakes already. We know what they are. We'll help you avoid them.
Right. So I just gotta get like, I'm the type of guy, look, I see the problem and I see someone that could solve it. I'm just, give me the PayPal, give me the invoice. Like, let's fix this. I don't have time to not fix it. It's like, I've told you, like, I've messaged, Ross. I'm like, Ross, I want to fix this problem. When do you have time? Tell me what's going to cost. Like, let's get to work. Right. Like, and stuff like that. Cause what else are we doing here? I don't want another tech stack. I want to know how the messaging is what matters in this AI world. Your voice, you showing the market that you're different, that you're human, you're authentic, that they can trust you, that you're not lazy, you're not going to take shortcuts. Like, that's what matters. I hope that's the biggest takeaway you guys get from this. And that there's a real skill to learning copywriting, but if you learn it, if you're a great recruiter and salesperson and you either learn it or have someone that's writing great copy in your voice for you, you could take this thing to the next level. Remember, only 1% of people, under 1% of people, posted more than once on LinkedIn every week. So just by doing that, you're setting yourself apart completely from people just relying on in-mails or automation only. So remember that. Ross, any final thoughts?
Published is better than perfect. Post
Love
something, make it in your voice, but do it.
I love it. Good stuff. Well, we're going to do this thing again next Friday. We're going to send some more invites out ahead of time. I know we got a couple ideas for topics next Friday, but we're going to make this more of a weekly thing again and bring it back. It is time. It is time. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to see if I can put our fancy image back on the screen. And then can I do a little some outro music? Outro music. Until next week, y'all. Have a good weekend. We'll see ya.
Adios.